Case, can I get a wee update on the reserves this season?
Yeah, it's going reasonably well. If we take the pluses, a lot of young players into the senior squad, and that's very proud for us and all the staff. Every time you see one of the young boys that's come through the team out in the senior panel, the challenge for us now is to continue that production line. We've got a lot of young players, a lot of Colts players in the reserves at the moment, and they're learning the game. Yes, they'll make mistakes and they'll have ups and downs, but that's what reserve team football's about. And as long as they learn from their mistakes, and then even in the first team, Eddie has the problem sometimes where guys will make mistakes because they're young guys, because they're learning the game. But the good thing is that Eddie's brave enough to play them in the first team panel, and they're gaining that experience, and that'll stand them in good stead. And that's the same with young players coming up from the Colts into the reserves. Whilst winning's nice, sometimes you learn more about players when you get beat. Tonight being an example, a couple of mistakes from young players, but they'll learn from that. And if they make them in the reserves and don't make them in the first team, that's what it's all about.
Would you say the players adapting from Colts level to reserve level, is it a big step up?
It's a massive step. It's exactly the same step as young players making the step up from reserves to first team football. It looks easy, but it's faster, it's sharper, it's a quicker game that they have to learn to adapt to. We notice with the young players when they come in, they sometimes want to take 2, 3, 4 touches. You just don't get that time, and it's even quicker when they get up to first team level. But as I say, that's what we're about, moving them through. And if they make mistakes at Colts level, if they make mistakes at our level, then as long as they learn from them, and if they continue to make them, then we've got a problem. But there's good coaches in place. There's good techniques being taught. Good levels of fitness being taught, and also we mustn't forget that the seconds are also there to help the likes of Jim O'Hanlon, who's had 3 or 4 games back, to keep Stevie McCulloch match fit. It's probably the most difficult job in football, to manage the young players coming through, who then get frustrated because senior players are playing, but they have to realise they're at a big club, and that's exactly what happens at a big club. We need to manage it. From the top down and from the bottom up, and that's a difficult scenario. Eddie's got the luxury of having to pick of whoever he wants, and anything we can do to help that is exactly why we're here.
And obviously you've had Adam Calvert, Collie Smith, Matty Kerr and Stephen Boyd training with the first team. Is that obviously pleasing for you?
Absolutely superb, because not only do they get to see about how quick it is and how fast and how sharp and how their technique needs to be honed, it also opens the door for us to bring 3 or 4 of the younger players into our training session for exactly the same thing. So it's a very joined up approach, and I think the production line for the last 6-7 years has been absolutely superb. The challenge for us is to keep that going.
And for obviously the first team regulars, supporters who wouldn't get to see reserve much, is there any players coming through that are ones to watch?
Well, you've just mentioned a few there that are already. We're the Colts managers forever knocking on my door saying, "Take a look at him, take a look at him." I'm forever knocking on Eddie's door saying the same thing. But we also have to remember we can only play 11 and have 3 on the bench. So managing it. Listen, players want to play. I had in tonight's game, for instance, 4 players down from the senior panel for various reasons, and that means I have to leave players out, and some of them are too old to play in the Colts. So that's frustrating for them. But as I said, that's the nature of being at a big club.